So welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2021, and our call-in number is 563-999-3581. Press 1, and that puts you into queue to talk to us. And I'm going to click on 901 again and see, is this Brenda? Do you have your hand up, or was that an accidental punch? Hey. Well, I'm not sure. It must have been an accidental press 1. So, while we're waiting on Michael to get dialed in, I invite you to go to our website, whyagain.org. You can click on the bullseye up in the, okay. You can scroll down the page and there is a bullseye that you can press, or up in the upper left corner there is a Start Here button. Both of those will take you to the same place. And you can access all of the worksheets, Michael's book. You can read it online. There's just lots of information, lots of audios, videos, and just put the tools to work in your life. And then we are here on this radio show 5 days a week. Dr. Tim's here from noon until 1 Eastern Time, and then Michael's from 1 to 2 Eastern Time. And we are here to support you, to answer questions, to assist you in any way we can, to bring up a conversation. If you have something that you don't particularly agree with and you want to discuss it, that's awesome. Let us hear from you instead of doing a monologue. And it really does make it your show. And if you have an issue, I guarantee that there are probably 10 other people that are listening that have that same issue, and they're just afraid to push one. So ask your questions. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to let Michael know that we are on just a minute early, so he can go ahead and get dialed in. And I hope that you press 1 and ask your questions. All right. So he is dialing in as we speak. So do you have something you would like to ask Michael or myself? Some specials going on, and Michael will talk about that when he gets on. There he is. Welcome, Michael. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
I am on and delighted to be here. We've got some specials. What kind of specials do we have, honey?
It's what we were talking about earlier this morning. I don't have it on the website yet about the MP4s.
Yes. So let's see. Let me look. I texted to someone, so I'm going to have to look it up because I don't have it memorized. But the young man was asking about a package for DVDs, and we didn't really have any package price on it. So what we did is we took a look, and a full set of our DVDs includes 14 2-hour DVDs, 1 4-hour DVD, 1 6-hour, and 1 10-hour. And the total price of all 28, 38, 48 of all 48 hours is $430. And so we just decided that we would discount the package to $350 if you'd like to do that. And so there you go. And that's also we're including in that. Go ahead, sweetie.
I was just going to say, and if they did the $600 intensive package.
Right. So then we're going to take it to the next level. And, we've got a 90-hour codependence to independence communication practicum, which is a self-study it's actually a combination of 2 intensives of that topic, where we do all the questions and answers and teaching and process and why is this happening to me again, healing through relationships, communication to hear what I think I said, mind shifters and still point breathing, and codependence to interdependence. So that 90-hour package is self-study, $600, and of course The radio show is here 5 days a week to support and answer questions for people who are doing that self-study. And we decided that if somebody wanted to buy the whole package of those 30 hours of DVDs and the intensive,
48 hours.
We discount that, 48 hours, pardon me. We discount that whole package by another $200. Is it $200 or $150?
$150. So it's for $800 for the intensive, the 90 hours plus the 48 hours of the MP4s.
So it'd be about 140 hours of self-study. It's a very intensive program if anybody wants to jump in and do it. And it's got the best of the best of the best of what we've got. And we've also got now our 48 tape or 48 DVD package or streaming package of Course in Miracles.
MP3s.
Back in the early days of developing this work. Pardon me?
Those are MP3s. Those 48 tapes are MP3s.
Right. And they're each an hour and a half, approximately. They're not timed to the minute. And that whole 48 unit package is how much? I don't know that in front of me, sweetie. I have to write all this up and have it available.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. I've got a different screen up taking notes, so I'll have to switch over and look.
Okay. Anyway, it's all there on the website, and if you are interested in supporting us, you know, the fact that we're not on the road anymore definitely has put a hole in our cash crunch or our cash flow, and so if you want to support us, that's the way to do it is, you know, pick up some of those DVDs or the Course in Miracles. You know, if you want to look at the early developmental phases of this work, in Fort Lauderdale, this goes back 37, from 30 to 37 years ago, over a period of about 7 years. I did 2 or 3 different Course in Miracles classes per week in Fort Lauderdale and Delray Beach. So that 48 unit packages some of the best of the best of those early Course in Miracles. A couple of them are not actually Course in Miracles, but they're primarily Course in Miracles.
And they were originally on cassette tapes, and we had a student, Doug, who converted them over to digital files. And those are $7 each unless you get the whole set of 48, and then they're $5 each, $240. And, Michael, do you have music playing in the background? It seems to be coming through, and you and I are the only two that are on.
Yeah, no. Okay.
All right. So, again, those 48 tapes, and there's actually a 49th bonus tape thrown in, and they're $7 each if you buy them individually. And you can buy the whole set of 49, $240, which means they're $5 each. And, Michael, now you've disappeared.
And now I'm back. Technology. What can I say, sweetie? What fun. What fun. Well, let's take a look at the reading today from Why Is This Happening to Me Again? A book that you are welcome to go to our website and download free. Or you can, it's out of print. It's something we published back in the late 90s. And fortunately, we spread a bunch of tens of thousands of them around the globe. And so, though it's out of print, you can buy used copies by the dozen on Amazon or on YouTube. I was going to say on YouTube, not on YouTube, but on eBay. What can I say? Technology. What fun. So we are now on page 95, talking to Richard, the character in the book, about healing, abuse, and victimhood. Well, it's kind of a, pretty much, you listen to some of the top politicians today, and they are just victims from the word go. Every time they turn around, oh, look what they've done to me. Look at what a victim I am. Oh, poor me, what a victim I am. Oh, they're going after me. I'm a victim. Oh, I'm a victim of that other party. Oh, I'm a victim of my own party. Oh, I'm a victim of the leaders of my party. I'm a victim of the military. I'm a victim. It's like, come on, guys, give it up. So here's about the healing of that stuff. So we're engaging this conversation with Richard, who's played the victim role. And we're talking to him about how there's a thing called enabling. And that his objection to stopping being an enabler is, well, gee, that would lead to trouble. Yeah, well, if enablers go away, people have to be accountable for their behavior. And when enablers step in and protect people from being accountable for their behavior, then the behavior tends to degrade. Behavior that's based in hostility or fear will tend to expand and get worse and get more insane. So, yes, in the short haul, there's going to be some blowback for accountability. But in the long haul, accountability is always going to bring forward, some level of correction or, deterioration. So Richard scowls at me. If she didn't cover for him, we were talking about the woman who calls in for her husband and makes the excuse that he's sick today instead of telling the truth that, he got drunk last night, he's got a hangover, and he can't come to work. So Richard scowls. If she didn't cover for him, there would be no paycheck and her family would starve. And I offer Richard the thought, well, that's a great rationalization, the one most people use to avoid facing their problems. They just justify addictive behavior and tolerate it as necessary because of thoughts like that. I invite you to interview a woman who's been there. If you could establish the cost to her mental, physical, and emotional health, the strain on her children, and other aspects of her life, it would be enormous. The impact of the anguish would be incalculable, hardly worth a paycheck. People deserve to live in loving, gentle environments where aliveness, delight, and joy are the norm. Anything less is an insult to the human spirit. With tools, it is possible for everyone to create such a life. And what we're looking to do is to provide the tools for every person to be able to create such a life. So loving, gentle environments where aliveness, delight, and joy are the norm. Anything less. And I could actually change that word insult and make it assault. It's an assault to our state of being. And so what we're looking to do is to, in particular, bring the ancient Aramaic tools, and in particular the tool of forgiveness, forward to support the self-assault that people do being healed, and to stand in a place of willingness to be accountable and hold others accountable for their behavior. Now, that's not always an easy thing because the denial game is so strong, and one of the things you'll hear back from people who are in that denial game is, well, I remember when you did it, therefore it must be all right for me to do it. Like, well, if we're talking about the fact that you did it, let's complete the accountability for you doing it, and then if I did it, we'll be accountable for it. But if you use one as an excuse for the other, it's just another avoidance. And so the objective of this work is to let go of the avoidance and to really step into a place of accountability, clarity of mind, and the willingness to, one, be held accountable, and two, to hold others accountable. And along the way, function as a human being, function out of the presence of love. There's an interesting, a lot of people refer to it as a beautiful passage in the scriptures. In fact, sometimes people use it for their wedding vows, and it's Paul's description on love. And it's really quite interesting if you read it, because Paul tells you through his speech about all the issues that he has. Love does not attack. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. The truth is, if we're functioning out of love, and when you function out of love, it doesn't really matter what others do. People can be greedy and nasty and ugly. If we're functioning out of love, we're going to be abundant, going to be generous, merciful, be able to embrace all in that love, accepting, has the space to make allowances, is gracious, civil, and is able to compromise. They're the kinds of things that are going to come along when we're functioning out of that space of love. And so we're here to invite, we're here to learn to be that abundant, generous, all-embracing, merciful, gracious, civil person, and let go of the rest, so that we truly function out of being, out of love. And so if you need support in achieving that, then the objective of this show is you have a keypad on your phone, and if you push 1, we'll be having a conversation. If you happen to be on one of those stations where we can't see you, can call into the show. Call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show, and if you push 1, we'll be having a conversation. So what's on your mind? How can we support you? Are these tools making sense? Is there a place where it's a challenge to apply them? Can we support you in overcoming that challenge, if there is one? So 563-999-3581. Call that number, push 1. Let's have a conversation. How are you doing? How can we support you? Anything on your mind, sweetie?
No, I am good. We've got 45 minutes. Come on, folks. We don't need to do a monologue. We need your input. Press 1.
It's a participatory show. And if you're not using the tools, jump on whyagain.org, our website. And when you get on the main page, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a link that says Start Here. Click the Start Here button and follow the links. That will walk you through virtually everything we know about forgiveness. And it's free. There are, as we talked earlier, there are DVDs, there are CDs, there's an intensive package. There are ways you can spend money to support us if you want to pay to get the work. And if you want the work for free, it's there for free. And if you want assistance and support with the work that's free and you want that to be free, here's the radio show. Call us and ask your questions. We're honored and delighted to share it. And, of course, if you're listening or if you've been a listener over time and it's benefited you, we invite you to consider, if you've been doing it free and you're in a position to, supporting us. Putting it out there. Basically, beyond fairly meager living. At this point, we share a home. Gene's dad, when he got to the point where he couldn't live on his own, about a 1,200 square foot home, and he wasn't about to leave after 50 years there, so we moved in with him. So beyond a pretty meager living, everything that comes into this work goes into how do we create another tool? How do we create another way to put these tools into people's hands? One of the latest efforts was that if you have the app, and by the way, but there is, the world's only forgiveness app is available through our website, and you can go to your app store and type in the words Heartland, Heartland, all one word, Aramaic, Aramaic, forgiveness. You'll be looking at the world's only forgiveness app. You can download it. If you look at it, if you had it up until about 3 weeks ago, you'll see that there's another whole component that's been added to it. And so each time that any surplus in cash comes along, we look at, okay, what's the next thing we can do to make this work available on a broader scale? And so if you want to support that, you can go to whyagain.org and you'll see a donate button. Push the donate button. And it actually goes to PayPal, and you can, if you've got a PayPal account, you can do it directly from there. And or you can do it with a credit card through PayPal. You don't have to have a PayPal account to donate through our PayPal gateway. And if we're friends of yours, if you consider us friends, if you do something like that, you can mark it to friends or family, if we're family. And that way PayPal does it directly through to us, and we get 100% of it. Otherwise, they take a percentage off the top. So how can we support you? What's on your mind? 563-999-3581. And we'll do a few minutes of silent meditation. And we'll breathe as we're doing that. Nobody out there with a thought that involves a question or a comment or a share about how you're using the work, how it's impacted you? So maybe we'll just spend the next 40 minutes of me breathing. How's that? Breathe with us. What's on your mind? How can we support you?
The first part of Dr. Tim's show, he was talking about, it was actually from the Way of Mastery, but it was very similar to our mind shifters. So I just had a thought, explain the mind shifters, and if somebody wants a mind shifter, call in and give us two numbers. Give us a number 1, 2, or 3, and then give us a number 1 to 13. So we need two numbers, and then we'll give you a mind shifter. We'll explain how to do it. That might be something to explain how a mind shifter works.
So let's define a mind shifter, first of all. And, this is called Mind Shifters Radio. And that term actually came out of a meeting. We were doing some creative dialogue at Heartland back about, 30 years ago, I guess. And we were looking at what to call this tool. We came up with the idea of it being a mind shifter because that's what it does. So what's our definition? A mind shifter is a thought about an issue in your life around which you have negative thoughts, and it's the opportunity to process, surface, and release the negative thoughts. And it takes advantage of the fact that the mind operates via the law of resonance. Remember, we've talked about resonance as the law of energy exchange. If I say, don't think about the color of your car, what happens in your mind? Well, because your mind works by resonance, information about the color of your car starts to move in your mind. When I clearly say, don't think about the color of your car, the body of my statement, the color of your car, creates a resonance and starts to move things in your mind. So what we do with the mind shifter is we'll listen carefully to an issue that somebody's got, and then we'll come up with a thought that will cause the unconscious part of the mind to move to where it becomes conscious. It will intensify the information that's kept at a subnormal rate at the mind so we can keep it in from ourselves, and it tends to amplify or intensify that unconscious information until it comes to conscious awareness. So the way that you use a mind shifter is take a piece of paper, divide it in two, you write the mind shifter on the left-hand side of the page, and then you do a brain dump. Everything that comes up in response to that, you write on the right-hand side of the page. So let's say somebody's got an issue about, people are always down on them and angry with them. So if I were having a conversation with someone, say, yeah, my father's down on me, my mother's down on me, my spouse is down on me, I look in the mirror and even I'm down on me. So I would give that person a mind shifter that went something like, people in my life cherish and honor me and are always there to uplift me. Now, the person who's got that reality in their minds, of people being down on them, well, so that would be what you'd write on the left-hand side of the page, and on the right-hand side of the page would be, well, that's a lie. People are always down on me. I write the mind shifter again. That's just BS. I write the mind shifter again. Well, that's ridiculous. I can remember, I was only about 4 years old when, and I start writing about that 4-year-old experience. It might be the first time that somebody was really down on me, or my mind interpreted it as though people were down on me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncover the perceptual construct and the understanding of a child of 4. And that might include, people hate me, people never support me, they think I'm stupid, whatever the list. And so you write the mind shifter, and all those things end up being dumped out on the right-hand side of the page. Then you look at those things and do an assessment of, what are the tools that can help me clean that up? Well, we've got the tool of forgiveness, we've got the commitment, we've got the mind shift. There are a whole series of tools. And so once you've, spent a couple of hours writing about whatever comes up as you write that mind shifter, then you look at what came up and use the tools to counteract that, to work through it. So let's say, somebody called me stupid. So now I could do another mind shifter with that. And that is, people have always told me that I'm brilliant. I write that and, well, that's a lie. What are you talking about? I can remember when I was 4. So the idea is that you're looking and you're searching into the content of your unconscious mind, and you're getting it to come to the surface. And when you make the unconscious conscious, you can change it, and therefore you can heal your life. It's an interesting passage. I think I can pretty much quote it verbatim from the book of Thomas, and it's one of the uncanonized books of the Bible. And in that particular book, there's a phrase where Yeshua says, that which is, words to the effect, this is an exact quote, that which is in you that is unconscious, if you bring it forward, will heal you. That which is in you that you keep unconscious will destroy you. So this work, one of the objectives of this work is to continuously be bringing things to the surface so that hidden impact of my own unconscious thinking is uncovered, and I get a chance to correct it. We call that correction healing. So that's a mind shifter. And so we have a sheet here. This is a tool that we teach when in an intensive or whatever, where we do still point breathing. And so in order to get things stirred up, we'll give people a mind shifter before we do a still point breathing session and ask them to write on it to just kind of stir things up in their minds. And so we have with the mind shifters on it there are 3 sections, section 1, section 2, section 3. And in each section, there are 13 mind shifters. So when Jeannie said, call us and give us 2 numbers, the first number we're going to ask you to pick, whatever comes to mind. And, it's always hilarious, especially in an intensive when people know each other, just how powerfully this works. Because people will pick the right 2 numbers, and when we're handing out the mind shifters, there's usually a lot of laughter because it's like, whoa, Charlie just finished talking about, Bill just finished mentioning that, and wow, there's the mind shifter that he got just by picking 2 numbers. So whenever I do that, I always put the invitation out that people be guided to pick the right 2 numbers. And so if you call in and pick a number from 1 to 3, the first one that comes to your mind, and then a number from 1 to 13, the second number that comes to mind, call us, give us your 2 numbers, and we'll give you your mind shifter. Then we'll invite you to create a space of at least a couple of hours where you just go and write that mind shifter and write everything that comes up in response to it. And what will happen is, you'll start out and you'll write about things that you're aware of and that you know, but if you keep writing, because the mind works by resonance, each time you write that mind shifter around an issue that you've got, it'll tend to resonate the unconscious part of the mind and get it to start to come to awareness. And so as things come to awareness, you start to be able to look and go, oh, I didn't know that was there. Gee, I think I'll apply forgiveness. So that's where I'll dig out a worksheet. Or, gee, I didn't realize that conflict was going on inside of me. I think I'll go and just sit in the mirror and do a love exchange or look in the mirror and do a love exchange with myself. So, we've got tools for working through all of the issues that surface. So if you're out there in this land and you'd like to have a mind shifter, push 1. Jeannie will answer the call, ask you what your mind shifter is, or introduce you by your area code. We'll ask you what your numbers are and give you your mind shifter. And then we'll invite you to work at it, write it, see what comes up, and, in a day or 2 or 3 or whatever, if appropriate, call in and share what happened as a result of it. We see profound things happen when people take that tool and put it to work. So what are your 2 numbers? Push 1. Let's have a conversation. Share your 2 numbers. We'll give you your mind shifter. And or if you've got a question, we've got a half an hour left. And if you're out there in this land, push 1 and let's talk about it. How can we support you? What's on your mind? What are your 2 numbers for your mind shifter? And maybe if we have no participation, sweetie, we'll call it a day. I've got plenty on my plate to do. So if nobody wants to play, then maybe we close the show out. What do you think, sweetie? You have any other thoughts?
I chose 2 numbers, but I choose 1 and 2.
Okay, so that's a good example. So what is the mind shifter for 1, 2?
Let me look it up here. It is telling the truth is safe, healing, and nurtures my relationships.
That's a powerful one. That can really touch a lot of places. So many people, in order to keep the peace, lie all the time, or think if they tell the truth, it's going to destroy their relationships. Go ahead.
I actually had a private session with a gentleman the other day, and one of his issues was people not telling him the truth, and then turning around and blaming himself for what he was feeling, because he said, well, I know that they were just lying to protect what we have or to protect our relationship or whatever. And it's like, lying never protects.
Yeah, there's that accountability issue.
Yeah.
Well, we've opened the space, and if nobody's interested in a conversation, if you want to fill the next half hour and you want to listen, they're I don't know, over 3,000 hours in our archive, so there's plenty there to listen to. But if nobody has any topics to bring up or conversation to have, then I'm going to just say let's close the show and say thank you for being with us, and join us tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a more talkative audience. In the meantime, create the best you get of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings.